Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. If you are new here, my name is nneniayasmeen, and for this week's video I have a hair tutorial for you all. I don't know about where you are, but here in Jersey it is pretty hot and I needed some braids for the summer, so that is exactly what we did. This was a pretty quick and easy style to achieve, definitely affordable and worth the time that I put in to achieve this look. So just a quick rundown on what I have going on. I have 6 feed-in braids here at the top and 14 kind of mid-sized chunky knotless braids here in the back. So again, perfect for the summertime, for cookouts, vacation, barbecues, festivals, whatever you may have planned. This will get you through. This will last me personally about 2 to 3 weeks, and it was my first time attempting feed-in braids as well as knotless braids. So if I could do it, you guys can absolutely do it too. And that's it. We're gonna jump right into the video. So if you're interested to see how I achieve this look, then just keep watching. Okay, so we are going to get started. My hair is in its natural state. I washed it, twisted it. It's a little damp, but it's okay for me to part it. But if you want to blow dry your hair, you can also blow dry it to make it easier to braid. For products, we will be using just a few. I have Eco Styler gel here, as well as a rat tail comb. I have some ponytail holders as well. And for the hair, I just got this from my local beauty supply. So this is pre-stretched hair. It is 30 inches. Yeah, just regular braiding hair. I got the color 1B, and I just got one pack, but it has like 6 individual I guess bundles in here. Okay, so for the parting, I started off by sectioning my hair in 2 of the main sections. This top half is going to be the feed-in braids that I braid on the scalp. And then this back section here is going to be the individual knotless braids. So I went from my ear and then I just went straight across. For the next section in parting, I left this top half alone, but I separated the second half into 4 sections. I have 1, 2, 3, 4. So I parted these sections off camera because I thought they were pretty straightforward, but I am going to show you my braiding pattern. So for the very first row at the bottom, I have 2 braids, and then the row above that I have 3. For each little mini section, I just put gel on it, and I then went in with a toothbrush to smooth it out before I put the rubber bands on. The rubber bands are completely optional. They're a preference for me. I like to part my hair and then go back and braid it later. So you can completely skip the rubber bands and just go straight into braiding. I ended up cutting these out later, so again, it's just personal preference. You do not have to use rubber bands. This is the 3rd row now, so it has 4 braids. So I'm literally just adding a braid each row. So we have 4, 3, and then the bottom one has 2. And the 4th and final row has 5. So we have 14 individual braids all together. This is me pointing to the parts just to show you guys I staggered my parting. So for each row, you don't want any of your parts directly on top of one another. You want them staggered and to make your part in the middle of the braid underneath it. This way your braids will fall in the gaps, and this helps for people like me who can't part perfectly straight. Most of your lines will be covered because of the gaps that are being filled. Okay, so now that we are done with our back section, I'm going to get started on parting the top section of my hair. I did go in and lightly blow dry this section just because these are going to be cornrows. I wanted it to be a lot more manageable, especially here in the roots and the ends. Okay, so we took the top section and broke it into 2 as well. So this is a really deep diagonal part. So we're gonna have 6 braids all together, so 3 and 3. So you do want, although it's diagonal, you do want these to be pretty even. It looks like I have my 6 sections for my cornrows. I promise you all, this is the easiest part. So this is the initial part that I did to separate each section, and then from there I just did a diagonal part. So I have 3 braids that will be going this way, and then again 1, 2, and 3 braids going that way. So these are my hair pieces that I just pre-sectioned out. It makes it easier, so like once you start braiding you can just pick it up and go. This is my first time ever doing knotless braids, so it did take me a little while to find a method that worked for me. I used 5 individual little slivers of extensions that I added to each braid. So to start off, I just start off like a regular braid with my natural hair. I then immediately went in with the first piece that I was adding in. I grabbed it with my middle finger, the section in the middle, as well as my working hand, which is my left hand, that's my dominant hand. Braid it down, and then you see this third piece doesn't have an extension attached to it, so I immediately went in with the second piece so that each section had an extension attached to it. I braided that one down, and then I immediately went in with the third piece. So I did the first 3 back to back. There's really no rhyme or reason to this. This is just what was working for me. From there, I braided it down a little bit, not quite halfway, but I did go down a little bit before adding the 4th piece, so you will see that here shortly. Once you add the 4th piece, the braid will then be long enough for you to bring it around in front of you and then braid it down again a little bit more before adding the 5th and final piece. You can make these braids as long as you want, as chunky as you want. This all comes down to personal preference. I'm going to try to explain how I attach the hair one more time as I get ready to add the 5th and final piece. This is the same braid. I just brought it over to the front because it's long enough now, so I braided it down a little bit more. When I add the hair, I put it with the middle section and with my dominant hand, which is my left hand, and you just continue braiding like normal. I'm going to show you guys one more time. I know trying to say it and explain it is a lot harder, so we'll take another look. From the beginning, same exact process. We sped it up a little bit. I start with 3 pieces, my natural hair, just a normal braid. I then immediately go in with the first piece that I'm going to attach. From there, I braid it down once and then immediately attach the second piece. So now all 3 sections of my natural hair have a piece of extension attached to it. Braid that down once and then again immediately add the third piece. Now that I have 3 out of the 5, I'm going to braid it down a little bit before I add the 4th and 5th piece. I didn't add a bunch of gel to my natural hair, and it's kind of hard to tell, but as I'm braiding, I'm kind of just tucking my hair in, and I'm making sure the extensions are like covering my natural hair. This is a lot easier to do because my braids are chunky, but if I were making like really skinny braids, I would have added gel to my natural hair to slick it down. And again, I bring the braid to the front before I add the 5th and final piece, and then you can just finish the braid off from there. So I ended up with, again, 14 knotless braids in the back. I went ahead and did the cornrows off camera just because I don't have a mirror in front of me and I can't, it's really hard to see in the viewfinder. So I am going to leave the tutorial that I watched down below because she gives like in detail steps on how to do the feed-in braid on the scalp. But I am going to attempt to do this one on camera for you all. I'm going to just put this on the part throughout each side. So this hair is really short and fine, so I'm trying my hardest to grip it as tight as I can. But I'm doing the same method I was doing in the back. Now that I've got a nice head start, I'm gonna go ahead and start adding my pieces. So these are a lot smaller than, of course, the individuals, but same method. So I'm attaching one piece to the middle here, and then the other half on like my working hand, which is my left hand. And then I'm just attaching it like so. So now this third piece doesn't have anything, so I'm gonna go ahead and attach another piece so that all three of my braiding pieces have the weave attached, or the extension, whatever you want to call it. So there's really no right or wrong when doing this. I just did what felt right. I decided to stick with the 5 pieces of extension that I added to each braid. That just made sense to me in my head, and it kind of gave each braid a similar length. But again, you can do what feels right to you. And now that I'm editing, I definitely wish I would have added even more gel. I promise I did, but it's just so hot. I was literally sweating as I was braiding it. But if you want that like fresh, walk out of the shop look, you'll have to add a lot of product. Like, you can't be shy with the product. So I'm going to show you a close-up one more time. Hopefully you guys can see how I added the hair. So I attached it to the middle section and then my dominant hand, which was my left hand. And then you literally just keep braiding like normal and it'll be attached. So that is pretty much it. I only left a little bit of edges out. And yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and put this mousse on it to help hold it. This is like the best part because it's summertime, it's hot, and I've just had no motivation whatsoever to do my hair. Alright everyone, so that wraps up this tutorial. Let me know if you guys have any questions, comments, concerns. I hope this was helpful for you. Out of those 6 packs of hair that I showed you guys, I only used 5 of them, so I have 1 left, which works out perfectly. I will probably end up redoing the top half in like a week or a week and a half, and then that will give me another week or week and a half, which will be about 3 weeks total. So again, very affordable, and I think it's really cute. It's something different from like box braids, which is what I've been doing back to back for like 2 months now. So I wanted to switch it up a little bit, and not sure I showed you guys the length. These are really long. They're lightweight though, they're not heavy at all. But that's it for this video. Thank you guys for watching and supporting as always, and I will see you next time.